first graders, welcome to another new social study lesson. Please bring your Our Community and Beyond social study book and open page 14. We start in first unit, People and Tradition, and we will be learning more about timelines. Before we start, let's revise what we covered last lesson. We talked about history, and we know that history is important because we learn about the past. We know that fact is something that is true, and we know that sometimes we learn about our family history by listening and asking questions to our grandparents or parents or even siblings, because they were around in certain time and certain events that you were not there. We also learned that family life then was different than today. We knew that in the old days, long ago, people used to live, or the family all would be living in one-room cabins, and there was no running water, no electricity, and the children would be doing certain chores that they can help their parents, cooking or cleaning or in the farms, do works with the farm. But now, knew that life for family now is totally different. Homes have electricity, they have running water, they can cook meals in the oven, and they store food in refrigerators. Children would be even playing different games. In the old days, we knew that children were playing games like hopscotch or marbles or with the jacks, but now children will be playing by video games or computer games. So today's lesson, use timeline. So let's learn what's a timeline. Timeline shows an order of events. Timelines show what happens first, next, and last. They can show days, weeks, months, or years. So let's listen to this and see this one. Timelines.
Timeline. A timeline is a line that shows an order of events.
And as you see in this 4 years, when that child was 4 years, they were playing with the chickens. 6 years, she went to school. 9 years, she was playing hide and seek and her house is far away. Okay. So, timeline shows an order of events. Timelines shows what happened first, next, and last. They can show days, weeks, months, or even years. Okay. Look at the timeline below. It shows events in Jack's life. So this is Jack. Jack shared his timeline and showing us picture of him in different years. Read the timeline from left to right. Events on the left happened first. So that's what happened first when Jack was 1 year. He said, I learned to walk. So he learned to walk, Jack, when he was 1 year. And then 2 years, what happened? Jack said, I had a party, celebrate his birthday. And when he was 3 years old, I visit my grandparents. So timeline shows order of events. So that's what happened first when he was 1 year old. He walked. When he was 2 years old, he celebrated his birthday cake and he celebrated his birthday and he showed the cake. And then when he was 3 years old, he went and he visited his grandparents. Okay. If we use, for example, if you talk about timeline about you, you can say, from the timeline, I learned what event happened first, because you know in order. Yeah, when he was 1 year old, Jack, he can walk. And when he was 2 years old, he had a party and he had 2 candles on his cake. When he was 3 years old, he visited his grandparents. So seeing this timeline help you to know information about events and it happened in order. So if I ask you what happened to Jack when he was 1 year old, he'll say, oh, he learned how to walk. Okay, when did Jack celebrate his party and we saw a picture of his cake and a candle? Oh, he was 2 years old. Oh, Jack visited his grandparents when he was 3 years old. So we knew that from the timeline that it showed the events in the right order, or in the order that what happened first, next, and last. Go for page 15. All right, what happened when Jack was 2 years old? If you go back to the picture, what happened? Jack had a party. He had a celebration for his second birthday. So it says, I had a party. So we're gonna say Jack had a party, right? When did Jack go camping? Let's read. 4 years old, I went on a camping trip. So this is Jack's picture when he was 4 years old and when he went for a camping trip. And when did Jack start school? 5 years old. So this is a picture for Jack when he was 5 years old, and it says, I started school. So this is how Jack's looked like when he was 5 years old. And what did he do? He started school. And when he was 4 years old, Jack went camping. So the answer for question number 2, when did Jack go camping? When he was 4 years old. All right, draw a picture to show what happens when Jack is 6 years old. So when Jack is 6 years old, what do you think? He will grow bigger, maybe taller, maybe have longer hair. So you need to draw a picture of Jack when he was 6 years old. Okay, so that's the timeline. So when I look at this picture, I know in order what happened when Jack was first. He started to walk when he was 1 year old. I know when he was 2 years old, he had a party. I know when he was 3 years old, he visited his grandparents. When he was 4 years old, he went camping trip. And 5 years, this is when he started his school. And 6 years, this is what you're gonna draw. So you can do something funny. You can you can make Jack holding a backpack or a school bag or lunchbox because he's ready to be in school now, like first grade, or he's wearing a hat, or he has different hairstyle or different haircut, whatever you like. Okay, let's go for page 16. Remember, we compare before and now, long ago, how the family lived, how their houses look like, what the children did, and then we saw the picture of how our houses look now, and what do we have in our house, how the children play, what kind of games they have. Okay, we're gonna see now school, then long ago, and we're gonna see school nowadays. So let's go and see how the school looks like long ago. Page 16. Imagine going to school in a single room with much older kids. As you see, little kids, older kids, all in one room. That's right. A long time ago, one teacher taught all students. The older kids would sometimes help teach the younger ones. Students learn how to write on slates, small chalkboards. They learned how to read using a horn book. A horn book is a piece of wood with a sheet of paper attached to it. And you see the picture here. The paper usually had the alphabet written on it. Okay. The reading skills, remember, find the picture of a horn book, how it's the same like the book you read, and how it's different. So the same, if I compare the horn book, this is the piece of wood that has a sheet with paper, and the book what we have now. So the same, they both have letters and pictures. Your book has letter and picture, and also the horn book long ago has picture and letters. But what's the difference? Yes, the book made out of paper, but the horn book made out of wood. In your book, you can turn the page, but the horn book was only one page, as you see, one page. Schools all long ago was only one room, and children with different age would be in the same classroom. And teacher will be teaching all grades the same time in one room. That's why older kids used to help the younger one how to read or how to do their work. All right, so for this activity, look at the picture of the horn book. How is it the same as the books you are having now or you read now, and how is different? We say it's the same because they both have letters and pictures, but different because the book, it's our book's made out of pages. You can turn the page, but the horn book is only one page. Okay, let's go to page 16. So that's what happened school long ago. Let's see how the school now look like. Today's schools are bigger than they were long ago. Students go to school in buildings with many rooms. So you go to school, we have even 2 or 3 floors sometimes. The first floor would be for the little one, and then you go upstairs, you go for the second grade or the older kids. But long ago, there was only one room. Over here, you have many rooms. So there will be first grade classes, kindergarten separate, second grade will be in a separate classes. But as we say, long ago, children, all different ages, staying in one class. Most classes have their own classroom now. Like as I said, first grade will be in their own class, second grade will be in their own class. Schools have many tools to help students learn. This is what we have nowadays. Some classrooms have computers or TV or whiteboards. Many schools also have a computer lab and library. So this is our schools nowadays. Your school will be having whiteboards, TVs, computers, many school projectors, and we have even computer labs. So when we do our quizzes or when we have free time, we can use a lab, the computer lab, or we have our computers in a class. And also, if we have free time, we go to the library and you can borrow any of the books and read. But all days, you didn't have any of this technology. And you can see children, for example, they have science labs, they have new tools that they can use to learn. And you see the little girl using the computer, probably she's looking for information to help her to do her project or her assignments. So let's see our question. Question number 1. What were classrooms like in the past? Okay, what do you think the classroom looked like in the past? Over here. It's a single room with much older kids. So that's what you're gonna write from, oops, over here. It's a single room with much older kids. So that highlighted part, this is the part you're gonna write for question number 1 in page 17. So that's your answer. Try to have small handwriting to fit in that space you have here. What are classrooms like today? Bigger and have their own, most classes have their own classroom. So the classroom now is bigger and most classes have their own classroom. So we do this, the highlighted part. The classes or the classrooms are bigger and each class or most classes have their own classroom. Okay? Draw a picture of your school. So I know we're doing this learning online, but I know most of you were here last year, so you know our building and our school. Or they went and you went probably in a nursery or TK in other schools. But we know that you have a big school, it's a big buildings, you have big whiteboards, TV, maybe you even have computer before, but now because you're first graders, you have time to play with computer or use computers. So we have a library. Maybe you visit your library before. So try to draw a picture of your school over here. Okay. If I ask you what kind of tools are used nowadays in class, what do you think? If you look at the picture, yes, you can see computers, you see TV. Now we have whiteboards, we have posters, colored posters on the wall, right? But long ago, what they have? The horn book. Awesome. Okay, that's it for today, first graders. So we're still seeing traditional, talking about long ago and now. We talked about how the family, how the house looked like long ago and how the house now or houses looks like. We talked also about schools, and we talked about the new word timeline, and we know that timeline shows an order of events. So I know what happened when Jack was first year old. He walked. When he was 2 years old, he had a birthday party. And then when he was 3 years old, he visited his grandparents. When he was 5 years old, 4 years old, he went camping trip. 5 years old, he started school. And then here you will draw how you think he will look like when he's 6 years old. Definitely he's a little bigger, maybe, as I said, have a different haircut or wearing different clothes. Maybe he has a Game Boy now or small tablets, probably wearing a hat, whatever you think. And we saw also about children, the books, what they had before and what we have now, books with colored pages. You can turn the page and you can write and add information. Okay, first graders, that's it for today's lesson. I will leave you with all this fun activity to finish and to be ready for next lesson. All right,